Fractal Falls, Montana, 1981. On a calm and unassuming night, something strange was about to go down at the on-chain arcade. On the eve of the arcade's grand opening, the universe shifted, causing a temporal anomaly to open up a portal to another dimension. The vortex's gravitational pull sucked in everything in its path, including the arcade's flagship new game, UFO Escape. Transformation started to occur. Our character found himself on a journey through sight and sound of ones and zeros. In the midst of a chaotic and unstable environment, a lone puzzle cube appears, and with it the promise of safety. But something catches his attention, and hope is evaporated. In a vacuum of space and time, looking for anything to latch onto, his masterful display of hardcore skills and abilities came to an abrupt end as he was knocked out and flung into the void. But as one journey ends, another begins. Our hero awakens in darkness, surrounded by familiar yet upgraded faces. The faintest glimmer of light shines through a crack in the door, inviting them to open it. To a whole new world of possibilities.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Cryptoys A.M.A. with CEO and founder Will. What's up, Will? Thank you for coming on the channel for this A.M.A. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, what's up, Chris? No, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's go. Shout out to all the people in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. I got some questions lined up for Will, and if you guys have some questions, I'll be keeping my eye on the chat, and I'll try to get your guys' questions in as well. And as we are talking about, Will, before the stream even started, everybody in the chat wants to know Wen Marketplace, Wen Marketplace. So my first question is going to be about the marketplace on Cryptoys. I know that you guys are planning on having a native marketplace, but you also said that we might be getting a third-party marketplace. So when can we expect to see those?
That's right. Really soon. I think, there's a few different aspects when it comes to marketplace, and we know that's a critical piece of the platform, and we want to make sure we do it right. I think one of the things that is interesting about Cryptoys, and one of the things that makes it really different, is we're building an all ages platform, something that the entire family could use. Typically marketplaces and anything blockchain related has been, regulated for folks over the age of 18, and it's very kind of financially centric, et cetera. And we're building something that really all ages can use, not just folks over the age of 18, but folks under the age of 18 as well. So to do marketplace with that in mind presents a few interesting challenges, solvable challenges, but challenges nonetheless. So we had to go about it in a very, pragmatic, methodical way. The other thing that is really, really important to Cryptoys is to have COPA compliancy and ESRB ratings. We want to be E for everyone. We want to make sure that everybody can use the platform. And launching a marketplace right out the get-go presents a few little challenges. And again, the get-go meaning when we launched a couple months back, we had to make sure that as we bring the marketplace to the market, that there were things that were done in mind for COPA compliancy, ESRB, et cetera. So we had to be thoughtful with it. I think third-party marketplaces will be coming first before a native marketplace, and we'll have some announcements soon. The aim is for this calendar year to have third-party marketplace support, and that includes third-party wallet support. Again, a lot of folks want to be able to see their Cryptoys and their assets in a wallet that's not just on Cryptoys, right? Totally understand that that's a big part of Web3 and blockchain, and we'll be supporting that as well. We have that feature coming, and that should be here very, very soon. Everything that I'm mentioning regarding the marketplace and the third-party wallet support will be this calendar year, and it's initiatives that we're undergoing right now. I think when it comes to dealing with licensors and companies that we've partnered with, obviously doing marketplaces and things like that, you have to be very, very careful. So I have full empathy for all the folks at VV or HRO and all these other amazing platforms out there that they have to balance. They want to push innovation, they want to do all these things, but at the same time, we also have partners that we want to make sure everybody's aligned and we're all lockstep doing things and thinking about the long-term vision. But to answer your question, third-party marketplaces will be coming very, very soon before the native marketplace, and the plan is for this calendar year for third-party marketplaces.
Nice. Good to hear that it's coming this calendar year. So
Yeah.
in that theme, I want to talk about interoperability a little bit because you're talking about using third-party wallets. First question is, do you have any pushback when you talk about that to a company like Star Wars? And then my second question is, are you talking about custodial wallets, or are we talking about MetaMask where we can sell these on OpenSea?
So we're a flow based platform. So when it comes to that, we have to be using flow based third party wallets. So you have things like Dapper Wallet, you have things like Blockto. When everything that supports kind of flow based tokens, we want to be able to support. And we work with our partners, whether it's Disney or Mattel or anyone else. We make sure that we're doing this in lockstep with them. So there are approvals, there are things like that that we all have to make sure that we get alignment around. Again, because we're all thinking about this from a long-term perspective, and we want not just folks that are into Web3 and blockchain to use the platform, but we want to grow the space. It's really, really important to invite a lot of folks on here that don't know what a MetaMask wallet is, that don't know what a third-party non-custodial wallet even means. To them, that's a bunch of jargon. So we have to really simplify it. So we have to make sure we do this in accordance alongside our partners and do it the right way. But I'll tell you this, all of our partners have been extremely collaborative. Our partners believe in the space and the future and where it's heading, and we'll make decisions alongside them for the betterment of our customers. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants our customers to have the best user experience possible and to be as satisfied with the product as possible. So we're in full alignment with them on that.
Awesome. That's great to hear, especially with such big IPs that you guys are working with. And when it comes to the enjoyable customer experience, that brings me to my next question. One thing that I'm excited about that I saw on the roadmap were the mini games, and I see that you already
Yeah.
have a little bit of a metaverse that we can run around in. Do you
Yes.
have an estimated time of arrival for mini games, and can you give us some type of hint of what type of mini games we should be able to look forward to?
Yeah, totally. We actually have our first mini game in beta right now. Some of our early holders and early supporters are actually testing it. We've sent test flight updates out for folks to go ahead and enjoy and jump in. It's a side-scrolling flying app. You load your Cryptoy and jump into a spaceship, and you're able to collect cubes and basically amass a high score, kind of similar to a sense like Flappy Bird, but just kind of flying around and things like that. And that's really part of the goal for Cryptoys is we're kind of this hybrid company. Think of us like if a company like Mattel, a toy company like Mattel, and a gaming company like Nintendo had a baby, and it was born on the blockchain, it would be Cryptoys. And we're creating a lot of gaming patterns and a lot of games that have things that people are familiar with. It's not like just learning like a whole new game and a whole new world. Like we know for a fact people love match 3 games like Candy Crush. We know for a fact people love side-scrolling games like Flappy Bird. We know for example, people love Infinity Runners like Subway Surfers and things like that, right? And like Tom Gold Rush. So like we're creating a lot of things that people will be familiar with from a gameplay perspective. They'll allow folks to jump in for 10, 15 minutes at a time. So lots of cool experiences coming. But the first game, it's actually in beta right now. You could snoop around the Discord, and I think if you ask the right questions, you might be able to test it out sooner rather than later. And we hope to bring it to market fully this year, like to say, hey, it's in the App Store within the Cryptoys mobile app. By the way, Cryptoys mobile app is coming, and these games will be embedded inside the application. So hopefully that'll come also this year because we're actively in development on it. The game is already available via standalone kind of test flight experience, but then that'll be embedded inside the app along with an AR experience. So you will be able to see your Cryptoys in AR
Nice.
and just have your whole collection on the go. So the app is really cool. I'm excited to bring that to market.
Yeah, I didn't realize you guys were working on that app. That's very exciting. Shout out to Living Aloha who sent over a super chat and wanted to let you know that he loves the platform so far. Appreciate you. Thank you for that.
Thank
One
you.
more question on the mini games before we move on to the next topic. Are you planning on doing anything special with those where people with a highest score could win some type of NFT prizes? Are you going to have a leaderboard, and is it going to be interactive where you can play against other users?
Yeah, totally. The first version of this is single player. It's a single player experience because again, we want to ship things and just show our community that hey, we're building. And oftentimes, building games take a long time. You know, it's a hard thing to do. It costs a lot of money. You know, on average, games take, you know, at least 2 to 3 years to build. We have a different approach. We want to build simpler games, things that we could ship out, even things like carnival style games. Like if, for folks out there that are familiar with Mario Party, they played Mario Party on Nintendo, stuff like that, like stuff that you could enjoy for 5, 10 minutes with a few friends, etc. The first experience will be single player because, frankly, it takes a long time to build multiplayer games that are linked properly. But we will be shipping multiplayer experiences in the future. But the first one, just to get stuff out there and get feedback from the community, will be single player. But more games will be coming. We have, a lot of people don't know this, we developed our own SDK for Cryptoys. It's based on Unity's visual scripting language. The whole platform is based on Unity, and you're able to create, and we're leveraging a bunch of different game developers to use this SDK. Because again, a lot of folks, they see what we're doing, they call us like the NFT native Nintendo, and it's a little bit of an interesting analogy, but you can kind of see some similarities to this game platform that folks can build on top of. Like Nintendo builds their own games, but then other third-party, you know, game developers build on top of the Nintendo system. So we have an SDK. We're working already with 3 different outsourced developers to build games on top of the third-party platform. So you can use your Cryptoys via the SDK. It was really amazing. The other day we had a team all hands, and we watched our lead Unity engineer create a Cryptoys game from start to finish using the SDK. In like 15 minutes, he created a game. Now, granted, it was a very basic game, you know, in 15 minutes, right? But still, he was able to show anybody, like once we release documentation and things like that, the idea is, hey, somebody on their spring break could get a hold of the documentation and build a Cryptoys game on the Cryptoys platform within a few weeks using Unity visual scripting and the Cryptoys SDK. So lots to come on the gaming front. And just I would say it's not just gaming. I would say it's interactive experiences and experiences as a whole. Like the goal with Cryptoys is to build the world's premier digital toy company. So if you have digital toys, sure, you can collect them kind of Funko Pop style and have them on the desk and things like that. But then what do you do with the toys? How do you play with digital toys? So sometimes you could play with toys in an active game. Other times interacting with them might mean AR. Other times interacting with them might mean AI, kind of having a conversation with it. Other times interacting with it, you know, might be kind of a lighter experience where you're walking around the block. It's not necessarily a game, so to speak, but you're having an interactive experience with your toy and exploring different environments. So we think a lot it's less through the gaming lens, even though games are things we develop. It's more so through interactivity and creating cool experiences that you could do with these toys in different ways.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And want to give a shout out to My Collectibles for the super chat. Thank you, my man. I was going to move on, but there is a really good question in the chat about the mini games. They just want to know quickly, do you have any plans for making AR games, augmented reality?
Absolutely, 100%. We actually have a few. So the AR application that's coming, the first version of it will be your AR experience where you could put them on the surfaces, take pictures, do different things with them. But then already the AR team has already given us about, I'm looking through like a whole pitch deck of AR games.
Nice.
That they're like, we want to do this next, we want to do this next, we want to do this next. So there's already a bunch of AR games that they have pitched to us, and we have to prioritize and listen to feedback. We want to get the community involved in a lot of this stuff. So like any ideas for AR based gaming interactive experiences or just interactive AR experiences, like please do like jump in the Discord or hit us up on Twitter. We want to hear it. It just helps us prioritize. So yeah, definitely that's coming.
And the invite link to their Discord server, the Cryptoys Discord server, is in the description of this live stream. So if you can click, if you want to join, you can click down there, click on the link, and that'll get you right in there. All right, next question, our next topic is going to be about accessories, because you guys had a live stream the other day and you were showing off the collectibles, and I think it was Vader had a lightsaber, and somebody asked in the chat, is the lightsaber a separate NFT? And surprisingly, they said, yes, it is. So how does that work with 2 separate NFTs for each collectible? Are we able to separate those and sell them separate and buy them separate? And can we interchange them, the weapons between the characters?
It's a really great question, and a lot of people don't know this. When you buy a Star Wars Cryptoy or the Masters of the Universe ones or anything that comes with an accessory, those handhelds, those are two NFTs in that package. You have the character and you have the accessory. So you're really getting a 2-for-1. So a lot of folks, like some people think, hey, $39.99, that's a great price. That's entry level. I can get in. Other people say, hey, that's a little expensive. Totally see both sides, but you're actually getting two in that package. You're getting two things, and so you're not just getting the lightsaber on its own for $40. You're not just getting Darth Vader on his own for $40. You're getting two, assets. And NFTs in that package. So that's really cool. The initial experience, you're not going to be able to decouple them. They come together. But once the mobile app is out, you'll see the mobile app has this experience where you'll take your Cryptoy and put it in a customizer. And the customizer will allow you to decouple inside the customizer. So at that moment, you're able to take what is kind of a connected NFT. You have the parent NFT and the child NFT, the parent being Darth Vader, the child being the lightsaber. That's bundled together. And that's one of the reasons we love the Flow blockchain is it allows that dynamic bundling. But then inside the app, you're able to decouple that. Once you decouple it, you'll then see the lightsaber in your item section and Darth Vader in your character section of the new version of the backpack that we're building. So yeah, that is coming. It's not available right on launch, but trust us, it is coming down the line.
That sounds really cool.
Then,
would you be able to take like He-Man's sword and put it in Darth Vader's hand, even though they're different IPs?
So we're still working on all the aspects of that. We know for a fact there are certain things, for example, that we know are 100% things that you can do, which is our characters, UFO Escape, which is our own IP. You see kind of the OG characters, the Corgi, the cat and the panda, Comet, Juno, and Alfie. Like those will be both ways. Like you could take the those guys and he'll be able to rock a lightsaber, hold a lightsaber, etc. Nice. We're still working with all the various IPs because there's a number of IPs, not just the ones that folks know about. There's a lot of IPs that we're working with. To do all the kind of cross customization and things like that, there's a little more nuance to it. But we'll make announcements on that front pretty soon so people have kind of clear guidelines. And the idea is, to have as much customization as possible. But at the same time, kind of think of it like a toy in the physical world. There are certain things that certain toys are compatible with that you can give certain accessories to in the physical world. And the same kind of things, would apply. There might be some things that only certain toys can do, etc. So we'll have a lot more to announce on that front coming soon.
Sure, it's gonna be interesting to see how the IPs go with that. If they're gonna allow them to their characters to have other characters' weapons. But you said that you had a lot of other licenses and IPs that you were working with. I don't expect chat to get much of an answer out of this because I know you guys are under NDAs and you don't like to give out too much information. But can you give us some hints or some clues or some ideas of what other brands you're working with? Maybe even what other Disney collectibles you guys plan on releasing in the future?
I wish I could say nothing would make me happier than to say some of the stuff that we're working on. Unfortunately, I can't. I will say that it's stuff I know this community is going to love. That's nice. As far as I can say.
Yeah, well, there must be, well, then again, that could be a lot of things. So I'm sure anything you guys drop, the community is going to be excited about. All right, I wanted to get into the Flow blockchain and what made you guys decide to use Flow. I know you work with Dapper Labs. I guess maybe that's the reason, but are there any advantages that you have being on Flow blockchain?
Yeah, so there's a few. And first of all, I got to give a shout out to the folks at Dapper Labs. They've been incredible partners and they're real pioneers in the whole NFT space. Oftentimes you ask folks how they got into NFTs and Web3. It's one or two answers. Usually it's either CryptoKitties back in 2018, 2019, or NBA Top Shot in 2020, 2021. Both of those were created by Dapper. Now I think obviously there's been amazing stuff with VV and HRO and all these other big IPs that are coming. Hopefully Cryptoys will be part of that story too. I got my first Web3 experience through Cryptoys. But yeah, Dapper Labs really was a huge pioneer. I don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for the stuff that Dapper Labs pushed forward into the space. They coined the term NFT. They created the NFT standard. So I've really always looked up to Roham, the CEO of Dapper Labs, just as a great innovator. And they've supported us from the get-go. I reached out to Roham, just a cold Twitter DM one day, like telling him how much I appreciate all the work he's done, and we connected. And they were really sharing with me. First, I shared the Cryptoys project and what we're working on, and I think a lot of folks know this started off as a side project for my daughter. It was like a passion project, inspired by my daughter. And then, Roham's like, you really need to build this on Flow. Let me show you why. And you see the way that the Flow language was architected. Flow was created to solve Dapper Labs' own problem. They launched CryptoKitties on Ethereum, and CryptoKitties completely the traffic and interest of CryptoKitties completely took down Ethereum and clogged Ethereum, and the gas fees were insane back in 2018. So they're like, if we're going to reach our goal to scale the blockchain and Web3 gaming and interactivity and collectability to millions and millions of people, we need to build our own solution. So that's why they built Flow, and it was really built for projects like Top Shot, Cryptoys, et cetera, in mind. Because first of all, extremely low fees. You don't have to worry about gas fees and things like that. Incredibly environmentally friendly. I think, Ethereum's made a lot of progress on that front, switching, to do some of the efficiencies that it has as of late. But back in the day, it was incredibly inefficient from an environmental standpoint, and there was, a lot of pushback on that. Flow solved that problem out of the gate. And they created this language, Cadence. Ethereum, you use Solidity as the programming language. Flow, you use Cadence. And Cadence, it was built in such a smart way to do this. And what I found also was a lot of you could take any Web 2 developer that, just knew their stuff, and you would show them the documentation of Cadence and they pick it up like that. It was just like super clean documentation, really easy to use. And the other thing is like the way Flow was constructed programmatically, it goes to what I was saying before. You can have things like parent NFTs that own sub NFTs and bundle things together in a dynamic way and do that on the fly. And that's really important for what we're building, because you want to have a Darth Vader that has, a few accessories, right? That's bundled together. You want to do play sets and bundles and packages. So it just works a lot for what we wanted to build. And I'll say, one final thing on that is that they're just fantastic, fantastic partners. Dapper Labs has helped us so much on so many different areas of the business, whether it is partnerships, whether it is, VC funding, whether it is like, cross and co-marketing. They've really, really been active, and it feels like they're an extension of our team. Like we're in a bunch of, group chats with their team, always collaborating on different things. And when you're a startup and, right now we're 61 people, Cryptoys, we're growing, but right now we're 61, and, a few months back we were, half that, and we're constantly growing. But you can use all the help you can get. And when you have extensions of your team that could provide that support, that's critical. And Dapper Labs does that in spades. They've been awesome.
Yeah, Dapper's a big name. That's how I discovered NFTs as well. Just like you said, NBA Top Shot was my first experience of getting into NFTs. I see you guys in the chat asking about playsets. It's on my list. We're almost there. Give me a couple more questions. We'll get to playsets because I want to ask about those as well. And it sounds like most of the chat agrees that Flow is a great blockchain to get into. Before we move on, though, are there any gas fees at all, even if they're minuscule?
No, so the way we handle it is, again, we want to be super consumer friendly. So we have the price points, we have any transaction fees that we cover from like a credit card perspective. That's really it. All the anything with like transaction fees or gas fees related to blockchain stuff is hidden to the user. The user doesn't care about that at the end of the day. So we bake that into our fees, from an overall credit card transaction standpoint.
Is there any chance in the future that those Flow gas fees could go up and they could become a problem? Either, even though it's hidden to the users, could cause the prices of the collectibles to go up for retail?
No, the way they've architected it, they've really mitigated that concern, and we'll never let that impact the price points for people to buy these things. So we'll always make sure that if it does become, for whatever reason, something, that it's not felt on the user side.
Perfect. That's awesome. All right, I guess we'll skip a question and then come back to it because everybody wants to know about the playsets. Excuse me. I didn't even know the playsets on Cryptoys was a thing, but somebody sent me a screenshot of the Castle Grayskull playset. Are those coming to Cryptoys, and is that going to be a drop? What kind of features do the playsets have?
100%. So again, we're building the world's premier digital toy company. So you need toys, you need items, and you need play sets, right? You need structures and buildings and things like that in environments. So the way to think of a play set at a high level, a play set is a bundle. Like if you were to buy Castle Grayskull play set, right, in the physical world, that is the building structure itself, Castle Grayskull as the structure and building. It comes with maybe 3 characters. It comes with He-Man, it comes with Skeletor, and maybe Triclops. And then it comes with a bunch of accessories and items. So when you think of the word playset, think of a bundle of things together. And then the Castle Grayskull itself is a building, like, or a structure. And we are going to be releasing those playsets and buildings and structures very, very soon. We're working with our IP partners on some cool stuff there, and also things natively for our own IPs and our own lines. And those are going to be interactive experiences. You're going to have these structures. You're going to be able to put them in different places, and then the goal of which is for you to be able to walk into them, see a different environment, things like that. And the way that I think about buildings and structures, and the way the team thinks about buildings and structures, is kind of like experience launchers, so to speak. So imagine you were to walk into Castle Grayskull, that would kickstart an experience of some kind, right? You would tap on the Castle Grayskull structure. All of a sudden, that would kickstart a Castle Grayskull like experience, whether that be a mini game, whether that be like an AR skin, whether that, like, there's different things that you can do, and that's how we really think of things from a launching perspective. So you could think of us in a way like, hey, if you want to call us the NFT native Nintendo, your buildings and structures are like your gaming cartridges, so to speak, that you could do different things with. So
yeah, it'd be cool if you had like one of those play sets and you could open it up in AR and actually walk around it in some way, or even in VR possibly. Who knows?
That's
if
right.
you guys be something, that feature you guys are able to add. All right, so I did have some technical questions about some of the user interface on your website. Some people have noticed that on the He-Man drops, that some of them aren't sold out, but it doesn't tell you how many mints are left. Is that a feature that's going to be prevalent on your website, where we won't know how many are left whenever items are not sold out? And will you guys ever burn unsold items?
Yeah, we're open to feedback on that. The initial hypothesis around what we're building is to grow this space in the way that we all need it to grow. And again, like, a lot of folks have, are comparing us to different platforms. That's fair, but a lot of people say, is this better than Vivi? Is Vivi better than? I don't think that helps anybody. We all need all these other projects to grow at an incredible rate. I'm a huge Vivi fan. I love what Vivi's built. I think, David's a pioneer and is doing some amazing stuff there. I think what HRO is doing with crafting and some of the things they're doing is super, super cool. We all need these platforms to grow at a high clip, for us to have the impact that we want digital collectibles and digital collecting to have overall. So for us, what we found is we want to take a little bit of a different approach. Like, we've seen what other strategies are trying, but what it's introducing is kind of like this FOMO inducing mint system, where it's like, get it now or don't get it ever. And we've seen, and we've been to Comic-Cons, we've been to conferences, we've asked folks, why don't you collect digitally? And folks are turned off by this. Everything's about money. Everything kind of feels shady. Everything feels like a cash grab. Everything feels like a FOMO kind of experience. We're taking a little bit of a different approach for the sake of trying things different, where we want to be more like a digital toy store versus like an NFT drop company. And we know scarcity is super important. We know transparency, 100%, all that stuff's super important. And we are open to feedback. If that's stuff that people want to see, please keep letting us know, etc. But we're trying things different for the sake of trying to grow the space as a whole. And we think availability is a feature, not a bug. Like, I know a lot of folks like really say scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Scarcity is important, and we build that into the collections. Like, there's only 100 Ultra Grail Darth Vaders that are going to be out there. You know what I mean? There's only 300 Ultra Grails across the entire Star Wars collection. But there has to be availability too, or else we'll never grow this space as a whole. So the reason we're trying it this way, at least to start, is to kind of get rid of a little of the FOMO-inducing mentality that has turned a lot of people out of the space, and try to welcome them in with open arms. But we are open to feedback, and if these are things people want to see, we're all ears, and we'll make improvements as we go.
That's awesome. I like that you guys are thinking outside of the box on that. All right, so my next question for you is staking. Do you guys plan on having any type of staking features available for holders?
Yeah, for sure. And staking is an interesting word. Like, the best way to think about it is rewards for people that have their stuff, on the platform. We do want to reward folks that have been with us early. We do want to reward folks for hanging on to their toys and doing different things with them. So, like, staking, there's a lot of things regarding quote unquote staking that we're going to introduce, which are like airdrops, which is also around idle gaming. There's this whole genre of gaming that my co-founders have introduced me to, because I wasn't a big idle gamer, but idle gaming is a thing, right? It's this whole kind of subgenre of gaming where you can put characters into, for example, let's say a pizza shop, right? Leave them in the pizza shop for a day or 2 days, and it'll produce pizzas as rewards, right? Like that's like a game that you could play on your iPhone and stuff like that. So that's an interesting way to think about staking. That's like I'm putting these things away in a virtual environment. I'm getting rewarded for doing that, and I'm checking it at a later time. So we want to create lots of different forms of quote unquote staking, whether it's, hey, I'm putting my Cryptoys to stake and I'm getting airdrops for them. Hey, I'm putting them into an idle gaming experience where you're putting your He-Man into Castle Grayskull for 3 days and he comes out with a power up. There's lots of things that we want to do that's a little bit of a different approach when it comes to staking, but the overall macro perspective of staking will be throughout the Cryptoys platform in different ways, for sure.
Nice. That sounds very exciting. Absolutely. We got a question here from Superstar Money. They wanted to know if you guys are planning on doing any meetups. Are you going to any conventions for any fans who want to meet you guys?
Yeah, shout out to the Superstar crew. I love those guys. We are going to plan to go out to Comic-Con. I think that's the next one, right? Comic-Con. We were there last year with Mattel. We had an absolute blast meeting with fans and collectors and just getting feedback on what it would take for physical collectors to jump into digital. So Comic-Con will definitely be in San Diego. We'll probably be in the New York Comic-Con as well. I'm more interested in spending, and again, I'm in this space now for a few years. It started in 2018 as the side project for my daughter, but then like as of recently, really, since 2021, company got funded, hired employees, etc. I've been going to a lot of Web3 conferences and crypto conferences, and frankly, I'm much less interested in them. I'll only go to a few select ones because I don't think that grows the space whatsoever. I think when you go to these crypto Web3 NFT conferences, you're basically shouting into the echo chamber. It's like NFTs are great, they're great, they're great, they're great. Everybody thinks they're great at the Web3 conferences, but like what's really growing the market as a whole? Comic-Cons grow the market as a whole, licensing shows grow the market as a whole, just overall comic book and trading card shows, and just fan shows like, definitely want to go, to the next Star Wars celebration. I think it's in Japan. Hopefully I have a good budget enough to go to Japan, right? But like things like that will really move the needle for stuff moving forward. So Star Wars conventions, conventions around, different IPs that we work with, that's where we want to be. But as far as one coming up, definitely Comic-Con in San Diego. We'll be there. Would love to meet up with you guys.
Awesome. I know a lot of people will be at that Comic-Con. I think it's a good idea to get into the fandoms, especially like a particular fandom like Star Wars. If you went to a Star Wars convention and people had never heard of NFTs or digital collectibles and they saw them for the first time, a lot of them would probably be interested in those.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the golden tickets. I know I have a couple of my buddies who already have golden tickets for the upcoming Star Wars drop. If you guys don't know about the golden tickets, you have to purchase 5 of the Cryptoys cubes at the same time with one purchase, and then you get a golden ticket. Some questions we have about the golden tickets: are they limited, and can you only use them one time?
Yeah, so they're not limited. You can get as many as you want. Another thing with golden tickets is they are actual NFTs. We're going to be, airdropping them as soon as the items you're going to see in your backpack. There's going to be an update. There's going to be an items section in your backpack. That's where your golden tickets will be dropped. So we're just waiting to ship that feature, and then we'll airdrop all the golden tickets. And they are NFTs, so eventually they will be tradable at whenever the functionality does launch. So you'll be able to trade your golden tickets and send them to different users, etc. And yeah, because since we haven't airdropped them yet, they're not eligible for the Star Wars drop. Folks that have got awarded golden tickets. But if you do max mint for Star Wars, we are keeping track of every time you max mint, and we will be rewarding you more golden tickets every time you max mint. So if you max mint 5 times, we're sending you 5 golden tickets, pretty soon, and you'll be able to use that for future drops that we're doing. So
Nice. So those golden tickets get you early access to the drops. A couple more questions they had
yes.
about the golden tickets. Are there any benefits to holding more than one? And will the first ever golden tickets have any extra utility?
We have a lot of fun stuff that we have planned for golden ticket holders. Like we see golden ticket holders as just like our enthusiasts and people that really believe in the platform. So we'll always have utility for golden ticket holders that we'll announce. One of the easiest announcements that we could obviously be super clear on is early access to the drops. There will be things like private chats and different airdrops and things like that that will work on for golden ticket holders. There is a benefit to holding more than one, because every time you want to get early access to a drop, you do have to burn a golden ticket. So like if you wanted access to the next big drop that we do after the Star Wars one to use a golden ticket, you will burn that item. And that it's kind of like at the carnival ride, it's kind of like tearing the ticket, so to speak. So that'd be a reason to hold more than one, and there will be more utility that we'll announce that might give you more reasons to hold more than one. So
nice. Yeah, I know a couple of the golden ticket holders in the chat were asking about that. And another question they wanted to ask about, I mentioned this earlier, I don't think we got around to it though. Do you guys plan on having a burning mechanism for unsold drops and unsold collectibles?
So we never use the word burn, because burning cute fluffy toys always feels a little bit wrong, right? You have don't burn your panda, but there is functionality that we're working on that will allow you in control of certain things to get benefits for what we call derezzing, and derezzing is kind of like our equivalent of burning. So that's as far as that goes, and just the whole concept of burning, that's our biggest plan around that. There's a gamification element to the quote unquote burning mechanism that we call derezzing that will give rewards for doing certain things. No announcements as of right now to burn unsold collections and things like that. Right now, the main focus is to onboard as many people into this space as possible to just try to grow the overall size of the pie for everyone involved here.
Gotcha. And we got a couple more good questions in the chat. I'm trying to get to everybody's. Tom wants to know if you guys have a crypto token. I know a couple people on Twitter asked me that as well. Do you guys have one or plan on making a crypto token for Cryptoys?
There is stuff that we're working on. The first thing that we're going to be introducing later this year is an in-game on-platform currency called Toyken. I mean, we just had a fun play on words there, Toyken. So Toyken is coming. That's not a cryptocurrency. It's not a blockchain-based currency. It's an in-game currency. It's similar to like Roblox's Robux. Toyken is kind of our version of that. Again, our idea is to grow the space as much as possible. So we need a grandmother to be able to buy a gift card of 100 Toyken for her grandson for Christmas, and allow that person to engage with it. So gift cards and virtual currency is a great way to do that. We do have an on-chain currency that we are excited to continue working on. We have no announcements of when it's coming just yet, but it's called Binary Dust, and we've talked a little bit about it on the website and the white paper. But that nothing to announce formally on that, but that is being actively created, and that's more of a utility-based token for the platform. And we're working with some great folks around that, but nothing as of right now to announce there.
Nice. So they are working on some tokens, guys. Roger E has a question for you. I think he must be a VV collector. I know Roger is. And this is kind of a VV related question. Do you guys do the same thing as VV and keep the lowest edition or any collectibles from each of the drops?
No, we do not. But again, first of all, shout outs to VV. I'm a VV user. I'm a VV collector. I really like the platform. And I use it frequently. But we do not, I'm not super aware of what VV does with that. Like, I don't have full context on that question. But we don't keep any like, there are going to be Cryptoid cubes that the marketing team sets aside for giveaways and things like that. But that's a completely randomized mint like everyone else. Like when we issue that cube, that mint number could be, 5,400. We won't know. It's completely randomized. So we do not set aside any specific low mints or anything like that, if that's the question.
Yeah, that was the question. Yeah, in context, the VB team keeps 1 through 40 of all the drops. The serial number is 1 through 40. So the low serial number collectors don't always love that. And that's probably why they asked that question as well.
Got it. I didn't know that.
So tell us a little bit about your VV collection. Do you have a collection? Do you collect anything in particular on VV? Do you have a Todd McFarlane Batman?
I don't. I have the black and white Batman. I got one of those.
Nice.
So sorry, just another call came in, and I do have a few Star Wars. I'm still basic. I don't have a huge collection on VV, but I have the black and white. That was the first one that I bought way back when, and then recently got Boba Fett and Darth Vader, two of my favorite ones. Like I got, I'm a big Boba Fett guy, as you can see here. I got
Star Wars
stuff
fan.
all over the place. I got my Boba Fett helmet. I got, my Boba Fett toy here. Like, I love Boba Fett. I love that character.
That's going to become a meme in the Cryptoys Discord now, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I'll just keep the helmet on for the rest of the show. That probably will give a better effect.
Well, I know you're busy, and I know you were busy when we started the thing, and you got another call coming in, and I think I've gotten through all of my questions pretty quickly. You had great answers for us. Is there anything you want to leave the chat to tell them about the Cryptoys platform that we didn't get to today before we end the interview?
No, look, I was just super grateful for the entire community. The reception has been absolutely amazing. Like you guys are so great, giving us a lot of great feedback, a lot of great comments. Definitely already a lot of feedback that helps us improve the platform. Please keep that coming. I want to say I'm super accessible and I want to meet each and every one of you. So if you're on Twitter, like hit me up on Twitter, send me a DM. I'll follow you back. We could have a conversation via Twitter. I want to talk directly to all you guys to make sure we're building the best platform possible. I'm really making a huge effort to be as accessible to every single person here as much as possible. So, big priority for me, moving forward is just to be in conversations with you guys to make sure we're building the right things, that our hypothesis is correct, that we're doing things the right way. And maybe if we're not doing things the right way, we want to hear about it so we can improve. And the last thing I'll say is, again, I see a lot of folks in the mentions and there's a lot of comparables and whatnot. We're all trying to grow this space together. Every platform has something very unique to offer. And I think we all need to work together collaboratively to just grow the space as a whole. I think this is an incredibly, incredibly exciting time for digital collectibles. And I think everyone here is really at the forefront of this emerging industry. And it's really exciting to be this early in something so special and transformative with you all. So please keep the feedback coming. And yeah, shoot me a DM because I'd love to chat with you guys.
Perfect. That's awesome. It's great that you're so open with the community. As you guys see on the screen, the Star Wars drop is on Wednesday, the 24th, this Wednesday, 6 days from now. So if you guys plan on going for that drop, I think I'll probably live stream the drop. Do you know of the exact time of day that drops?
We're about to announce that in the next, I think, day or two. We're about to announce the exact time. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. And I want to tell you, thank you very much for coming on the channel and answering our questions. I appreciate it a lot. And we got a lot of great information from this. It was very helpful for people who are trying to decide whether or not they wanted to buy the Star Wars drop.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I'll see you at tomorrow's drop day live stream. Later.